I have decided that this will be my last week at CNN. More to come on what's next for me, but I'm really excited about this next chapter. I'm going to be here through the week, with Friday being my last show, so this is truly not goodbye, but see you soon.
Another unknown at CNN is voluntarily jumping off the Titanic. Monday morning, Rahel Solomon announced that she was choosing life by leaving the Cemetery News Network, which was breaking news to damn near everyone, especially family and friends of Rahel Solomon, because most people, myself included, didn't even know that she was hosting a show on this dump of a network. I have been covering CNN for years now. I have helped cops and heartbroken families around the country locate missing loved ones who have been hosting shows that no one is watching on this dump of a network. And in all that time, I have never heard of Rahel Solomon. Now, obviously, the lovely Rahel is a smart woman. She has located a lifeboat and she is jumping off the Titanic before it officially sinks. Unfortunately for some of the other unknowns at CNN, their departure isn't going to be voluntary. According to TV Insider, some woke welfare collectors at CNN, they're about to be fired. You know, 5 years ago, when former CNN president Chris Licht was attempting to save the network, I told you guys that the only way to save CNN was to completely eradicate the woke fungus. Now, obviously, I don't know a damn thing about running a cable news network, but it doesn't take the genius of Ted Turner to figure out why CNN needs to eradicate the fungus. This network desperately needs to differentiate itself. CNN is in desperate need of an identity. Hell, this network is so desperate for an identity, they are now emulating YouTubers, hoping changing the scenery of the background will convince people to actually watch. They don't need to change the background. They need to change the faces. America has told every host at the network to get off my TV. Fox News has cornered the market on older conservative voters. Baby boomers, older Gen Xers, they are getting all their news from Fox News. MSNBC dominates the demo of lonely men like Keith Olbermann. Katie Boo! If you're a man that repulses women or a man who wants to be a woman, you are getting your news exclusively from MSNBC. 5 years ago, CNN had the opportunity to be the cable news network for normal people. Now you gotta remember, this was before YouTubers and podcasters were dominating. This was before they were really mainstream. CNN could have hired Megyn Kelly before she lost her mind, Brandon Tatum, Piers Morgan, people like that. Instead, CNN decided to hire Chris Wallace, Jamel Hill, and Rex Chapman. They gave them six-figure salaries to launch their new and improved streaming service, CNN Plus. 3 weeks later, CNN Plus was shut down. Instead of differentiating themselves, CNN decided to try to emulate MSNBC. The problem with that strategy, the emulator is never as good as the originator. I can't tell you how many times I have been told over the years, you need to narrow down your topics. Your channel is all over the place. You need to select a niche. To me, I did select a niche. My niche is Uncle KC. I wanted an audience that watched no matter what the topic was. I wanted an audience that watched for me because no one else can be me, just like no one else can be you. That's how I chose to differentiate myself. And CNN had the same opportunity. CNN had the chance to separate themselves from Fox and MSNBC. But instead of taking that risk, instead of taking that chance, CNN stuck with what was comfortable. And now the network is once again preparing for massive layoffs. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, we discussed this never-ending fight between Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. A fight that Jason Whitlock is clearly winning. Although I don't really understand his obsession, for lack of a better word, with Stephen A. Smith, I will give Jason Whitlock credit. This dude, over a period of a couple of years, he has meticulously exposed Stephen A. Smith. I explain what Jason Whitlock exposed, so if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Headline at TV Insider. CNN set to cut dozens of jobs. Will layoffs affect Anderson Cooper? What about Jake Tapper? What about Wolf Blitzer? Woof, woof, woof. What about the lovely Caitlin Collins? Katie, woo! Katie, woo! CNN is planning to lay off several dozen employees this week, or as CNN prefers to call them, viewers. According to TV Insider, these layoffs are part of what Georgie Bush would call their strategery. Over the last few months, CNN has been strategizing on how to become less reliant on cable and more reliant on digital content. We are shifting towards modernization. Since no one is watching us on cable, we are offering viewers the unique experience of paying for our content. Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You can't draw an audience on cable where people basically have free access to your polished turds. So your brilliant plan is to ask people to pay monthly for your toxic gas? I think it's safe to say that CNN will once again be nominated for the Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards later this year. But if you're Caitlin Collins, or one of the other primetime hosts being paid millions of dollars not to draw an audience, your job is safe for now. This initial round of layoffs, it is expected to impact staffers working behind the scenes. But the faces on CNN screens in airports across the country, those faces could be changing real soon. For those that don't know, Paramount is currently in the process of acquiring CNN. Now, if the acquisition is approved, there is expected to be massive changes. For starters, some employees could leave CNN voluntarily. You don't have to take my word for it. Watch for yourself.
You don't want to work for the Ellisons. I've spent a lot of time with Larry Ellison. He's a terrible person.
Okay, so you recently said that you would leave CNN if Paramount won the bidding for Warner Brothers, perhaps as soon as the new series airs. We want to hear about the new series.
Yes, I'll wait for the new series. They haven't bought it yet. It's not finished yet.
So is that a for sure thing? Is there a scenario in which you would stay anyway? Like,
I don't see how.
Why? Tell us.
Well, it's interesting because they've been calling me. They've been very nice. They're like, hey, Kara, good show with Matt Bellany. They're doing a lot of friendly with me right now, which is like, too bad. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen for you, as I say. I don't think they'll be good owners. I don't. I think they've already shown several times, including editorial choices, that they have no interest in journalism. And I refuse to work for an organization that doesn't respect journalists.
Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, why is Rachel Maddow talking about leaving CNN? I thought she worked at MSNBC. Yeah, that was not Rachel Maddow. That was her woke twin sister, Kara Swisher. Over the last few years, Kara has been working as a contributor at CNN, where her primary contribution is converting oxygen to carbon dioxide. But next month, Kara Swisher was supposed to make a meaningful contribution at CNN with her new show, Kara Swisher Wants to Live Forever. Sounds real captivating, right? If the merger is approved and Paramount acquires CNN, Kara Swisher is claiming that she will quit immediately, which I am sure is keeping the Ellison family, who owns Paramount. I'm sure the threat of Kara Swisher quitting is keeping them up at night. I mean, who would want to lose a superstar of this magnitude? Another employee who could leave voluntarily is Andy Cooper. Last year, the Ellison family bought CBS. Several months later, Andy Cooper decided to abandon his role at 60 Minutes. Now, Andy claimed that he was leaving to spend more time with his family, but my guess is Andy Cooper left because he was no longer allowed to lie to his audience. What is happening right now at CBS, this massive overhaul where they're basically overhauling the entire network, that same thing could happen at CNN if this merger is approved. In the vast majority of cases, billionaires don't buy struggling companies with the intention of having the company continue to struggle. Billionaires don't buy struggling companies and continue paying the people responsible for turning the organization into a dump. They purchase the company with the intention of turning things around. Remember when Elon Musk bought Twitter? He went in and fired everyone. Now, whether that happens at CNN, that remains to be seen. But the real question is CNN even salvageable? Is it even possible to save the network? Earlier this afternoon, I was watching Ben Shapiro. He was talking about the war in Iran, and he was referencing some poll. I can't remember what poll it was or the exact numbers, but the poll included Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. They asked different questions. Do you approve of the war? Should the Iranian regime be dismantled? Was it a good thing that the Ayatollah was taken out? Stuff like that. Long story short, according to this poll, the vast majority of Americans approve of the war. Even some Democrats approved of the war, at least according to this poll. Now, whether or not that's true, whether or not this poll is accurate, I have no idea. But what it showed me was the declining influence of the media. And I'm talking about all media, mainstream media, independent, digital media. If you listen to the mainstream media or even some in independent conservative media, they want us to believe that the entire country is against this war with Iran. This poll, and even some polls conducted recently by CNN, it shows the complete opposite. But the difference between CNN and those in independent media, the overhead cost for independent media, very, very low. I think Megyn Kelly has 5-6 people on her staff. CNN has thousands, tens of thousands. We're in the midst of a drastic shift in how people are consuming media. Hell, the media has changed since I started doing this 5 years ago. But the thing is, those of us in independent media, whatever you want to call this, we actually need CNN. We need the mainstream media because we don't have the resources to go out and find the news, find the stories. We rely on the mainstream media for those stories. The problem, though, with the mainstream media, they don't want to report the news and be unbiased. They want to create the news. They want the news to fit their agenda. Anyway, sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.